Rain pounded relentlessly against the windows of the bustling city cafe on the evening of July 22nd, transforming the neon-lit streets into a shimmering blur that few bothered to notice. Commuters dashed through the downpour, umbrellas clutched like shields, desperate to escape the summer storm and retreat to air-conditioned apartments and evening plans. But not everyone had a dry refuge waiting. Dr. Elena Vasquez leaned against the counter of her corner table, scribbling notes in a worn journal as the barista called out orders over the hum of espresso machines. At 42, Elena was a renowned architect, the visionary behind eco-friendly skyscrapers that dotted the skyline, earning her accolades and a fortune that afforded her a penthouse view of the very chaos she now observed. She was en route to a networking mixer at the Apex Tower, one of those polished affairs where influencers traded business cards and toasted to collaborations that rarely materialized. "Ma'am, the storm's picking up," the barista warned, sliding her untouched latte across the counter. "Traffic's a nightmare. We might need to close early." "No rush," Elena replied, her voice steady. "I'll wait it out. Take the back alley if it's quicker." As she gathered her things and stepped toward the side exit, a flicker caught her attention through the rain-streaked glass. A silhouette huddled under the cafe's narrow awning, illuminated by the glow of a single phone screen. In this deluge at this hour, it was odd enough to pause her stride. It was an older man, perhaps in his late 50s, seated on a weathered milk crate, his threadbare jacket soaked through. Gray stubble shadowed his jaw, and his salt and pepper hair clung to his forehead. But what made Elena halt and push open the door was the object in his trembling hands. A faded photograph, held aloft like a talisman against the rain, the edges curling from the damp. Beside him on the cracked pavement sat a young boy, no older than 8, in an oversized hoodie that swallowed his frame. The child stared at the photo with quiet reverence, rain dripping from the hood's frayed brim. Elena didn't hesitate. She acted on instinct. "Hey, mind if I join you for a second?" The man looked up, startled, his eyes sharp despite the weariness etched into his face. He shifted slightly, making space on the crate. "Free country's still free, I suppose," he muttered, voice rough like gravel. Elena crouched down, unfurling her compact umbrella to shield them all. The photo slipped slightly in his grip, a black-and-white image of a woman with a radiant smile, arms around 2 young boys, one of whom bore a striking resemblance to the man himself. "That's beautiful," Elena said softly. "Family." The boy nodded eagerly, wiping rain from his cheek. "That's Grandma Rosa. Today would have been her birthday. Pops makes us look at her picture every year, even when it's pouring." The man, Carlos, as the boy introduced him, cleared his throat. "Kid's got a memory like glue. Rosa loved birthdays. Said they were promises of better tomorrows." They finished a makeshift toast with plastic cups of stale coffee Elena had grabbed from inside, the boy clinking his against his grandfather's with a grin. "To Grandma," the boy echoed. "And dry socks. That toast hits different out here," Elena said, her tone light, but her gaze lingering on their sodden clothes. Both startled slightly at her approach, but curiosity won over caution. Carlos tucked the photo into his jacket pocket. "Didn't mean to block the door, miss. We'll clear out soon as the rain lets up." "No apologies needed," Elena assured him. "I wasn't interrupting anything big, just heading to a mixer full of handshakes and small talk. Saw you from inside and, well, that photo pulled me over." She trailed off, searching for words. Celebrating her birthday like this? Carlos's face tightened, rain mingling with what might have been unshed tears. "Doesn't look much like a party, does it? We've been roughing it on these streets for about 8 months now. Lost the house after the mill shut down. 40 years there, and poof, gone. Rosa passed 3 years back from the cancer. Left me raising little Marco here alone. Social security checks stretch thin when you're dodging eviction notices. We've got a spot under the bridge most nights, but tonight, Marco wanted to come here. Said Grandma used to bring him for hot chocolate after school. My hot chocolate fund." Marco piped up, proud as punch. "I saved bottle caps from the park. Traded a whole jar for this coffee today." The lady inside said it was a birthday special. Half off cause it's for someone special. Elena's heart clenched like a fist. A child scavenging caps, to honor his grandmother's memory. A grandfather clinging to a photo in a storm because memories were all that remained of home. "What's the story with the picture?" she asked, settling cross-legged on the wet pavement. Designer slacks be damned. Elena. This is Carlos and Marco. Elena Vasquez. Nice to meet you both. Rosa was my anchor. Met her at that mill. She was the foreman's daughter, tough as nails, but soft where it counted. Taught me to build things that last. After she went, it all unraveled. Factory closed. I couldn't find steady work. Ageism's a quiet killer. We've been on lists for senior housing, but they move slower than molasses. For now, it's us against the rain. He delivered it plainly, no trace of bitterness. But Elena spotted the toll in his hunched shoulders, the fierce protectiveness as he draped an arm around Marco. "Pops is the strongest," Marco declared. "He tells me stories about Grandma every night, even when he's tired. And he makes sure I get to the library for books. Says knowledge is our real roof." "Sounds like he is," Elena agreed warmly. She glanced at the empty coffee cups. "Mind if I crash the party a bit longer? I've got a networking thing, but the canapes, they're overpriced pretzels. Rather share stories with you, if that's all right." Carlos eyed her skeptically. "Why bother? Folks like you got places to be, dry clothes waiting." Because, Elena admitted, "I've designed towers that touch the clouds, won awards for sustainable living, but I've forgotten what it feels like to build real shelter. Not blueprints, but bonds." You two, holding on to her memory in this mess. It woke something up. Carlos searched her expression, then shrugged. "Fair enough, but only if you spill about those fancy buildings." Elena grined. "Deal." She fetched pastries from the cafe, day olds, but warm and flaky, dividing them 3 ways with a pocket knife. The portions were modest, but shared with quiet gratitude. It felt like a feast. They savored in companionable quiet, the rain a rhythmic backdrop. "Best birthday tribute I've seen," Elena said, and she meant every word. "Flatterer," Carlos chuckled, a spark returning to his eyes. "Bet you've dined at spots with gold fork desserts." "I've had lavish spreads, sure, but this honors her, makes it priceless." Marco tilted his head. "Are you famous, Elena? Like in the papers?" Carlos shushed him gently. "Manners, me Joe." "It's fine," Elena laughed. "Kind of famous, yeah? Got money for my designs. Enough for views that block out storms like this." "Then why not head home to that view?" Marco asked, blunt as a summer squall. "Because tonight this awning feels like the spot I need." They conversed for nearly 2 hours, the storm easing to a drizzle. Carlos shared tales of Rosa's laughter echoing through their old kitchen, her secret recipe for tamales that could mend any broken day. Marco chattered about his library adventures, dreaming of becoming an engineer to fix bridges so no one falls through. Elena opened up about her firm, born from a garage sketchpad, how she clawed her way up in a male-dominated field. But deeper, she confessed the isolation of success, the endless deadlines eclipsing friendships, the gnawing void beneath the acclaim. "I build for thousands, but feel like I'm living for no one." At last, Elena's watch chimed, a reminder from her assistant about the mixer. She'd blown it off entirely. "Gotta run," she said, rising. "But first, can I help?" Carlos's jaw set. "We ain't beggars. Pride's all we got left." "Not charity," Elena countered. "Just a hand up. Let me book you a room tonight, someplace with hot showers and actual beds. For Marco's sake, if nothing else. And tomorrow, I know folks in urban development. Can nudge your housing application, maybe line up job leads for skilled trades like yours." "Why us? Strangers in the rain?" Elena met his gaze, then Marco's, the boy dozing against his grandfather's shoulder. "Because that photo's faded, but the love in it shines. Because you're toasting her in a downpour and still seeing silver linings. You remind me what resilience builds. Not steel and glass, but unbreakable spirits. And I've got resources sitting idle. It'd be a waste not to share." Carlos's resolve cracked, emotion thickening his voice. "Can't promise we'll take it all, but yeah, for the kid. And Rosa, she'd say yes." Elena nodded, relief flooding her. "That's all I ask." She arranged a suite at the Apex Tower that evening, the very venue of her missed event, complete with room service. Tamales from a local spot she called in a favor for, evoking Rose's favorites. She slipped Carlos her contact info. Text me at dawn. We'll map the next steps. Come morning, Elena dialed contacts. She reached the head of the city's Affordable Housing Initiative, a nonprofit she'd funded anonymously but never engaged personally. Detailing Carlos and Marco's plight, she pushed for priority placement. By week's end, they secured a compact apartment in a revitalized neighborhood, ramps and all for Carlos's creaky knees. Elena fronted the deposit and seeded a savings account for Marco's future studies. She linked Carlos to a retraining program for green construction, his mill hands steady on tools again. And within weeks, he was consulting on community builds, drawing from decades of know-how. Yet beyond logistics, Elena wove into their world. She dropped by with blueprints for Marco's model bridges, shared coffee with Carlos over progress reports. She evolved from benefactor to confidant, then kin in all but name. 6 months post-storm, Elena joined them for dinner in their sunlit flat. Marco unveiled his science fair entry, a cardboard aqueduct channeling rain into rainbows. "You're the engineer boss here," he beamed, affixing her name to the project board under helpers who build dreams. Elena's eyes misted. "Thrilled, kiddo. But your pops? He's the foundation. Held it together through floods no one should weather." "True that," Marco agreed solemnly. "Grandma's my top builder. Pops is next. You? Number 3. Cool. Beyond cool." Once Marco crashed, Elena and Carlos lingered over herbal tea. "You rebuilt us," Carlos murmured. "Words fail." "You've repaid it tenfold," she replied. "Before you, I was drafting empires, but hollow inside. Chasing deals, missing the human blueprint. You showed me true architecture, layers of trust, beams of empathy, foundations and stories like roses. Nah, you had the plans. We just handed you the hammer. Maybe, but I'm grateful it was you too." Carlos's smile warmed. "Same here. And Elena? When we're solid, Marco and I'll lift someone else. Pay the blueprint forward. I believe it. That's the real design." Years on, Carlos made good on it. He mentored at-risk youth in trades, channeling Rose's grit into workshops that turned scrap into structures. Marco, true to his spark, engineered sustainable water systems for underserved barrios, his first patent dedicated to the awning angels. Elena transformed as well. She launched an initiative merging architecture with social equity, crafting homes not just habitable, but healing, prioritizing families like Carlos's, blending disability access with cultural heart. No more distant donations. She sketched on-site, absorbing voices, etching lives into elevations. Annually on July 22nd, Elena, Carlos, and Marco reconvened at that cafe awning, their storm shelter origin. They'd procure hot chocolate, unfurl the photo, and whisper wishes into the breeze. Marco, now a grad student, recounted the tale to peers, how his grandfather honored a birthday amid rain, trading caps for coffee, how a soaked stranger paused her stride and redrew their horizon. What halted her, they'd probe. What sparked the care? Marco would grin. She was sketching shadows, chasing empty spaces, spotting pops with grandma's picture, refusing to let the rain erase us. She saw the light we'd been guarding. Found, missing line. And we discovered the builder we needed right when the foundation shook. Carlos would chime in. We fortified each other that night. She gifted us walls and windows, a view beyond survival. But we gifted back, reminded her designs breathe through people, not just plots, showed her wealth's worth in what it constructs for the overlooked. To Elena, the query echoed too. What made you stop? Most hurry by. She'd recall that instant, the photo aglow in the torrent, a boy and his grandfather weaving memory from moisture. The pivot from polished event to pavement perch. Hard to pin, she'd muse. That image, maybe the defiance in celebrating amid the flood. The bond no storm could sunder. It anchored me, made me see I'd been bypassing blueprints of the soul for years, too swept up in my own drafts to notice the drafts others endured. That evening, I chose to linger, and it redrafted us all. The awning anniversary wove into city lore. Features and design mags spotlighted it. Elena's firm spotlighted it as proof one pivot could reframe realities. But for Elena, Carlos, and Marco, it transcended tropes or tags. It was the deluge where paths converged precisely, timely as a well-placed beam. The night an architect grasped structures serve souls. The night a streetwise grandfather learned leaning in isn't surrender, but synergy. The night a boy grasped generosity gleams even in gales. It sparked with a weathered photo, a birthday nod, and a vow murmured in the mist. Often, life's blueprints veer from our sketches. The vital strokes? Those where we halt, observe, extend, erect. Where we recall we're interwoven, each a load-bearing line, each deserving solid ground and shared sight lines. That drenched July dusk, three souls unearthed their voids. In unearthing one another, they all charted home.